Hello. How do I unmute? Can you hear me?
Okay, sounds great. Let me know if you have any other questions.
And then everything else of all of this, like I don't need to have like readily available.
No,
Just
that's
the doctor visit forms.
right.
Perfect. Are you on still? Is it?
You are unmuted by the host.
Oh, there you go. I unmuted you.
You might want to mute me again.
Is Mary Piper there?
Yeah, I have
She's waiting for the host to let her in.
Oh, I see that now. Okay, sorry. They've made a lot of changes to Zoom in the last month or two. So
Oh, is it going to be a problem if both of us, we both have our own computers?
I'll just mute. I will.
I guess we don't
Or
need.
you mute, maybe one of you turn audio off on your computer so you don't hear me bounce back twice.
there.
There. Okay.
Perfect.
Are you doing your little?
I know, right? Were you able to find the library?
Oh my gosh, that's in the middle of nowhere.
I know. The first time I went, it was kind of like to get to it. It took me a little bit.
But I'd go again because
Real close. And I know. I stopped at that. I stopped at that Meyer, and they have a really nice selection of plants. So I got some plants there. They're really pretty. People are.
Here's the blue gun. I got it heating up. So you want to have blue.
Hello, everybody. I think it'll let me show everybody. We've got 15 people signed up for the class, and we will, I mean, it's only 6:26. So we'll give them a few minutes. I wish I could play music or something cool. Did everybody pick up their kits? You're welcome to. If you don't want to unmute yourself, you can just give me a thumbs up.
I'm unmuting to tell you that I have 3 kids roaming around the house, so I will probably stay muted most of the time.
Okay. Hey, I understand. My husband's upstairs with the kids right now, and I just remembered that I have not, he hasn't had dinner yet, so he'll probably have to come down at some point to get dinner. You know how it goes. But, and my dog's upstairs, so we'll see. There was a really bad storm here. Oddly enough, we lost power earlier today. It's been a weird day, so I'm like just hoping that nothing happens. Everything's fully charged, hoping that, you know, we'll be able to do what we have planned and not, you know, have any interruptions. I think the storm is past, so that's good. We won't have to worry about that. The sirens were going off and everything. I don't know if you guys are getting that your way, but.
Yeah, I didn't get my kit so I'm gonna follow along with my kit.
I can kind of hear you, Rebecca, but not very. See if I can up the voice.
Teal, your favorite color.
Yeah,
That's going to be to hang it up.
yeah, blue.
With going through the library, I didn't like had to register through the library's link. I didn't have access to everybody's emails. So I'm like, can I get those emails, please, so I can at least let them know how to join this group? I mean, I know that it was on the registration, but if you're like me, you need it to be spoon-fed a few times. If you find, you know, I even put it on my Facebook page because I just wanted to be able to find it. Hello, hello, everybody's joining.
I gave to you today.
Where are they?
I don't know. Can you go look for them?
Yeah.
Look in the drawer.
I'm going to try and share my screen at some point during this, and that's the first time I've done this on Zoom, to share your screen. I mean, I've been part of them, and I've kind of tested it out, but we'll see.
You want to give me one of your pinks?
I almost forgot my water. Let me go grab my water.
Never know that. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, I just love this.
There we go. was really nervous with this class because we had this planned back in like January, maybe even earlier last year. We knew what wreaths we were going to get and everything. Well, when the class was canceled, we canceled it in enough time that I didn't buy the wreaths yet. And when I went to get them, everybody is like, because I have a wholesale site, everybody was like, because of COVID, shipping is really late. And like, they weren't coming. And then I was like, I went to Joann's to look for them and they didn't have them at Joann's. And of course, like half the stores are closed. And like, I know they have them at Hobby Lobby because I've gone there before. So I had to go and get, so I called them the 12th, the day they opened up with my little mask on. And I called them and they're like, oh, we don't open till tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I was going to drop the kids off today. So there's a few people that have a few larger wreaths only because I bought them out of all of the 10-inch wreaths that they had. But I wonder if I can, oh, there's 3 people waiting and I'm just sitting here talking. Here we go.
Jessica, Sarah.
There we go. Ta-da. Hi, everybody. Some of you are muted and that's totally fine. But if you want to talk to me, there is a little button down at the bottom, like raise your hand. And then I will hopefully be able to be notified of that as we go. That way I will, or you can just shout out and say, hey, how do you do this? Or questions that you have. I'll go ahead and just introduce myself. My name is Kate Spurlock and I'm the owner of Anna Mulberry. And Anna Mulberry is a business that started to help create creativity. So I did not think I was creative. About 10 years ago, I just started dabbling in crafting and then just, it really took off. And it really helped me feel, here we go. It really helped me like just focus. I guess I should say I'm a creative person. I went to school for interior design. So it's not that I don't have any creativity or anything, but it was like crafting. I just didn't feel like I had the patience for it. But when I found the right niche of crafting, things like that, it just kind of spiraled. So my first machine was a Cricut. Now I have a Silhouette, but my friend here, Kimberly, we are using her Cricut Maker. We share machines a lot. I should have asked you, Kim, do you name your machine? Megan.
I barely name my kids. We call them boy and girl.
That's true. You're right. I love to like name things, but I was just thinking, I don't even have a name. I'm going to call her Megan. Megan the Maker.
Yeah.
There we go. But I think everybody's in that is going to be in. So we're going to do, I've got 2 camera views. I've got one up here that'll kind of show us like, so you'll see my face some of the time and then you'll see the screen some of the time. And then you'll be able to see the creation of our kits. I made these kits very easy. So you can, if you don't want to make it right now, you just kind of want to watch. You can make it later with your kids. And the flowers, there's 9 flowers, but to make the flowers, it's the same process for all 9. So it would be very easy to kind of make throughout, you know, throughout the day
Kate,
or another day. Yes, ma'am.
Kate, some people can't hear.
There's some people that are muted.
Yeah, so Sarah got off and she's going to get back on, but she said she couldn't hear anything.
Let's see here. I'm going to unmute everybody and then see if that helps.
So you just have to wait. Man, you never told us. You should show us.
It's like slow going. It's slowly going through. I'm muting everybody. It's like doop, 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 doop. Can everybody hear me okay?
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. But Sarah couldn't hear me, right?
Right.
Maybe it could have been a setting on her computer,
Yeah.
but it might not have been too.
Maybe
then my
down
friend
near the
Stephanie-
mute button, you can
pull up that and it says select a speaker, she might need to make sure her speaker's right.
Oh, yeah. Down by the knee.
Like a little carrot.
Yeah. She might have it unglued right now. Oh, there we go. We've got a few people that are joining. Yeah, Sarah. Oh,
I'm here.
oh, there you are. Okay. Ta-da. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I know it pops up and it has to ask every single time if you will allow it to have audio and video. So there's always that little fun nugget. Anyways, we will go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining us today. We would have done this in the Pickerington branch, but obviously with everything going on, we have to go virtual, which is kind of nice because then you get to just like, after you're done with this, you get to go home and you don't have to worry about, I'm going to, can everybody tell if you kind of wiggle your screen, there's a button at the bottom where I'm going to mute everybody, that way you can hear me. Currently, participants will be muted. And if you have a question, just raise your hand and it'll notify me and I'll unmute you. Okay, does that work? And I'll try not to ask stupid questions like when you go to the dentist and you have your mouth full of tools and they ask you questions and you can't answer. I'll try not to do that. So we've got this Cricut Maker here, and there's the Cricut Explorer and the Cricut Maker. They just came out with the Cricut Joy, if you're familiar with that. It's a little baby machine. It's like this big. It only cuts 6 inches. And they have it at Target now, which I think is crazy because Target used to only have like a few crafting things. They have a whole aisle now for Cricut. So yay, Cricut's marketing team, I guess, because they are in Target. And you can buy 6-inch rolls now, 6-inch rolls of vinyl and all that stuff. So it's for like little small projects, and it's like a Bluetooth. You can carry it around. It's been out for maybe 6 months. I've not played with it, but I follow a lot of bloggers that do and have talked with them about it, and they really like it. I think it would be good if you went to crafting events, like scrapping events, where you didn't want to bring your whole machine, but maybe you wanted your smaller machine. That could be a possibility. By the way, this is not sponsored. Nothing is sponsored here. I don't have any marketing, so everything, marketing deals. So any tips that I give you and information I give you is just my experience and based on people that I talk to in the industry and things that I've tried out. So a little over a year ago, we tested out cutting felt on the Cricut Maker. And when you first pull up the Cricut, Cricut Design Space, and you pick your material and you say, I want felt, it will pop up and it auto selects the small blade. What's the small blade? The fine point, even though you want the rotary. And I have the rotary in here. Let me get it out and I'll show you. It's this little, it's got like think of like a fabric rotary. These rotary blades you can only get, they're only available as of right now with the Maker. The Maker has a little more pressure than the Explorer, and that will cut the felt and fabric a lot better. But you still can cut on your Explorer. What you need to do is you need to go and get heat and bond, and you'll iron it on and it'll make your material thicker. So here's some that I had that you can see the back of it. I put it on. You just iron it on and then you peel it off. And what it is felt is very fibrous, right? So it's got a lot of fibers in it, and it helps make it so that the blade can cut all the way through it. What I would recommend doing, because I did try it out, I told it extra pressure when I was cutting it, and it still needed a little bit of guidance. So here it is, which actually this didn't do too bad. If you can see that, let me switch my view. Let me switch my camera to the down here so you guys can see. Is that a little better? I don't know. Right here. I don't know if you can see. So this one I cut out with the fine tip, the fine point blade, which is what you would have on your Explorer if you have a machine. And, but the problem is, so you can see the general shape. It's supposed to look like this, okay? You can see the general shape, but it didn't really cut through all of the material, right? So what you're gonna wanna do is, see, like you just kind of can pull it out, and then sometimes it doesn't pull all the way out. So you'll take your scissors and you'll just kind of cut that area that you need. So this one I did with the fine, just the one that you would have on an Explorer. And you can see on the back where it kind of cuts it a little bit. Well, not a little bit, it does cut it a lot, but you might still have to go back through with your scissors and clip it. Let's see here. So this one I did with the rotary blade. And this one I did with the rotary blade without anything on it. So the advantage of using the Maker is that you can take your light pink mat that you use for fabric, and you will, you can see all the things that we've cut on it. Just use a baby wipe in between cuts to get the fibers off of it, okay? And what you're going to do is once you put your fabric, like this is my felt, okay? And there's nothing on this, I don't have any heat on. On the Cricut Maker, you can put it in just like this and put it in the machine with your rotary, and it cuts it just like this. The Explorer, it requires a little more finesse because you're essentially like pulling the blade through. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and you might get frustrated, and if you do, it might be easier to just cut a template out of cardstock and then just trace the design around if you were to do that. The thing that's going to, help the most is knowing the different kinds of felt. So I use felt that is going to be a combination of 25 to 35% wool and then the rest rayon. You can find it at Joann's. It's going to be like this, you know how they have the bolts of fabric that are really, really tall for the, and there's like 100 colors of felt. That's the acrylic felt. The stuff that's going to work a little bit better is going to be the wool felt, and it's in the shorter bolts at Joann's. There's also a website called Benzie Design that you can buy felt in sheets and pairs, and they have like 100 colors. I get my felt from the same distributor as her, wholesale distributor, but she's nice because one, she's a small shop. She's based out of Plainfield, I think, which is outside of Chicago, and she's a small business. And she actually was asked to audition for the Maker Show on NBC. So she's a fun lady, and I like to, you know, promote her because you can get really fun felt there. And she has like palettes that you can get, so you can say I want the you know, one that looks like it's perfect for spring, or one that's perfect for girls, or bright colors, or rainbows, or all the different ones, succulents, all the different things. So there's also a chat feature, by the way. I think Jennifer said, hey everybody, how's it going? Let me know what you think. So if you get a second, you can pop over there. So I have just an example of, this is when I first started, this whole started because I saw this really cute wreath type craft, okay? And I was like, I could totally make that because I have die cuts that I will cut the flowers out with paper. And I thought, I bet I could use the same ones for felts because the felt's not super thick. Well, I went to Hobby Lobby and I got like the felt that's like 33 cents, right? And this felt is a little bit, it's made out of like recycled, it's acrylic, it's made out of recycled pop bottles, that kind of thing. And it's more see-through. You can tell that it's more see-through, it has more shine. And it also is not fade resistant. So if it has any bit of exposure to sun over time, it's going to fade. So that's another downside. It's the same thickness pretty much. This is the wool felt and this is the acrylic. You can just tell the saturation is a lot more with the wool felt. So when you go to Benzie, if you want to get just sheets of felt like this, you would want to go online and get the sheets of felt. And I will be totally honest, the first time I went on Amazon and typed in wool felt, and it was fall time, so there were like some fall colored palettes of deeper tones, and that's where I got my first wool. You don't want 100% wool, because 100% wool is really thick and it's hard to cut. So this is 1 millimeter. Sometimes you might get 1.5 or 2. If that's the case, you can always take an iron and press it and make it a little bit thinner. So this one was 1 millimeter, but when I ironed it, it kind of got a little bit thinner, which I know it's hard to see on the video, but okay. So let me see if I can properly switch over to the screen share, and we'll see what I have. Desktop 1, whiteboard. Oh, Cricut Design Space. How did I know I wanted that? Ta-da. Open system preferences. I don't know how to do that. Oh, there we go. Maybe it'll let me, maybe it won't. You know, it used to be that you could, oh, now it's giving me options. Okay, share. Ta-da! Can you guys see the screen? Okay, so this comes up, and this is the same shape over here that I cut out with the orange felt. And I just got this off of their project tab on the Cricut Design Space. One thing that's really cool is they have a lot of free projects. So I didn't pay for any of these designs, and even don't be intimidated if you see that they used it to make flowers, or they used it flowers out of paper, or cardstock, fabric, leather, all of those things. Just think of the design, the actual shape that it is, and you can use it to cut different things. So in this case, I wanted to cut this one. It pops up, you know, connect to your machine, and then set your material. So this is where I'm going to tell it I want to cut felt. And then it automatically has it defaulted to the fine point blade, and it's going to say put this in the clamp B. Well, I don't want it to be this one. I want it to be the rotary one because I'm on the Maker. So I'm going to change it to the rotary blade and hit apply. Up here under pressure, I put more pressure. And then once I put my mat in, then I would click the little button on my Cricut. It would go through the machine, and bada bing, bada boom. Can you still see right here? Oh, that's so cool. There's so many neat things. Okay, well then I didn't think you'd be able to see. So I'll just show you. I have another little piece. We will try and see, there's the Maker. There's Megan the Maker. If you missed the very beginning, I nicknamed this machine Megan the Maker because I like to name things. Okay. So this is the machine. It's kind of upside down just because that's how the camera setting is. The blue one. Here we go. This one is blue. It's like a tealish blue with the heat bond on the back. Oh, but I don't want that. That's right. Let's do another one. Let's do like, I don't know. I'm using my scrap bin, so I've got like all these fun different colors. I know it doesn't matter. I should just pick one and move on. I'm trying to find one that's big enough to show you. Okay. So I'm going to put this one, it's kind of like a sage green. I'm going to put it in the old machine right here. I'm going to click this button. And then it's going to say, go ahead and click that button. So I click this one. And I will tell you that this machine cuts way softer, not as loud as my Silhouette. My Silhouette's loud. I have the Silhouette 3. I know the Silhouette 4, I believe can do felt as well. And the Silhouette 4 is actually supposed to be louder than the 3. So I wouldn't even know what that's like. But so this is just going to take a few seconds to cut, and then I'll kind of just show you that. And then we'll move on to actually making the craft. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys in the comments. Once I stop screen sharing, I'll be able to see more of your comments. But let me know, type in there any questions you have on actually using your Cricut to cut felt or fabric. You're going to use this heat bond on fabric as well. So you could make fabric flowers this exact same way. So you would, if you wanted to make, I use felt flowers for headbands, like for hair accessories, but you can also do flowers, all different kinds of things. So really the possibilities are endless. Like I said, I started with paper because I thought it was really fun doing it that way. Ta-da! Please unload the mat. Okay. So now I will go back down. Ta-da. And you'll see that it cut this out. See, it just cuts it out like butter. Now sometimes around the edges, you might have to clean it up a little bit, but mostly it just comes out right like that. And this actual shape, if you find this, let me go back to the, I want to cancel this cut. I want to show you guys the one that I pulled up for this so that you could, this is the one, it's called the leather flower headband. This is the one, it was free. That's the one that I pulled up to cut this design right here. And it actually already has 3 different sizes plus the little middle inside that you can use. This is another felt flower wreath that they have that you can click on, and it gives you all the instructions. It's free, $0. I believe, I'd have to double check with Jennifer, but I believe that the library has Cricut Access as well, that you can use their Cricut Access to get some things. And it gives you instructions and all of the fun things to do. So this one in particular is actually for felt, whereas the other ones are for leather, but you could use it however you want. So I'm going to stop screen sharing real quick and go over here to some questions. Let her in. Yes, I do need to let her in. I'm sorry, Miss Jessica. You don't have to use the heat and bond with fabric on the Maker. The Maker Machine is kind of like the big daddy, it does it all, but I know it's an expensive machine and not everybody has it. So I wanted to show people that have the Explorer that you can still cut it. It might be a little more frustrating. You might have to get into a groove. You might have to do a few more cuts, but these were all tested with all different methods. And I think that you can see that they pretty much all look pretty similar. I did kind of clean them up a little bit, so there's that. But then this design, what I would do is you would just put glue right here and you just kind of overlap these to make like a little pocket, is how this one goes. And then the smaller one goes inside of it to layer it. I put my glue gun on a long time ago so that it's nice and hot. I'll show you how I would do this really quick. This isn't our craft, but I wanted to show you kind of how you would, if you liked this design, what you could do. So if you have the Maker, you don't need the heat bond. I think it's the yellow package that you actually want of the heat bond. So it's like a little teacup. And depending on how much you overlap, so I overlapped about like a 1/2 inch. You don't have to overlap that much. It would lay flatter if you didn't. And you could also not even put them together, but you could just layer them like this. See how? Like you could just kind of layer them like this and put them in. If you want this to be really stiff, a good tip is to spray this with hairspray and it will get stiff. So here's the thing, you can buy stiffener at Joann's or online. I've tested using stiffener and using the actual hairspray, and I like the hairspray better. Plus it smells better than the stiffener because the stiffener smells like glue, like Elmer's glue. So let's see. Any other questions? Wool felt. That's a very good question. Okay, so Julie asked if I press all of my felt before, let me switch over. If I, here we go. If I pressed my felt before I do my projects, the answer to that is no. Unless it's super wrinkly, then you would want to. So I'm sure I have some pieces in here that I could show you that I'm like, oh, that is going to be kind of clipped. I will tell you that when I prepared these kits for you guys, some of them were like, there might be a crease from where the felt's folded and it just was cut along that line. I have a heat press that I put down and it just irons all of them out. So you'll notice that your flower base, they're actually a little bit thinner and they're all like perfectly flat, ironed. So that's how they come in the kits that I make. But you don't have to unless it's super, super like wrinkly, just to help with, you know, getting it down. If you have felt that's like really fluffy, like I have, it's the exact same kind. It's from the same manufacturer and everything. It's my white felt is more, it's like a little thicker than the other ones, a little fluffier. So that one I always press because I want it to be, I don't want it to look so like, you know, extra next to the other ones, but you don't have to, if that makes sense. So let me see if I can pull up the website because that's really cool. I'll show you where, you guys can write this down. Is there, okay, here we go. Advanced. I can put music on here. That's pretty cool. Okay. So how do I open a new tab? There we go. Okay, so you're gonna go to benzidesign.com. And she has wool felt as well, but you're gonna go under her wool felt blend and you can shop by the color palettes and see how she has all these different palettes that you can get. Like, so sometimes you're kind of like, I wanna make some flowers, but I don't know exactly you know, what colors. This takes the guesswork out of it. This one's one of my favorites. I think it's so pretty. So you click on it and then you could just say, I want 10 9x12 sheets. And they ship actually very quickly. So, and they kind of show different things that you can do with the felt. Some people make, you know, so these are all different things that you can cut on your machine. And this is where you can go to get that. You can also go here to get fun pom-poms, which are felt balls. They are 100% wool. And these I use for the center of my, of a lot of the flowers. So, and they're going to come in 3 or 4 different sizes. I have 3, but you can have a few more. Let me see what the chat says. Oh, there was nothing there. Okay. So anyways, does that answer your question? They have a ton of different felt balls. You can get more felt balls on Etsy, but they come in bulk. Like, so you might get like 100 or 5,000. But if you were like, I've had a few people who are decorating like the table centerpiece for their church and they need a lot of felt balls. That would be the cheapest way to go, is to get on Etsy. I haven't seen any, I haven't looked on Amazon. That is true there. But anyways, so are we ready? And you can ask me questions as we are doing our little wreath presentation. I thought this one was cute because I like doing little clusters of flowers. I've been making all different kinds of wreaths. So now would be the time you guys can get out your kits. And we will start making these. I'm going to change it over to my Logitech. There we go. It shows backwards. I don't know why it does that. Well, I do know why. It's because of the way the camera's positioned. I can still see your comments and questions. And again, there's the raise your hand feature if you want me to unmute you. That way you can talk. I have nothing against you guys talking. But I want to make sure I asked all the questions. The felt is 1 millimeter, by the way. And if you're doing a project that, I just want to say this really quick. If you're doing a project like with your kids or something that doesn't need to last that long, then you can totally like make a stencil out of cardstock and just go to Joann's or Hobby Lobby and use this and trace it. okay? It's just not gonna last as long. But for some projects that you wanna do or things that you're doing with your kids that you just kind of wanna have an activity, it's totally fine to use that felt. I'm not putting it down. I'm just letting you know it doesn't cut the same on the machines. So that's my disclaimer there. So you have this little kit here, and there should be 9 flowers, 9 centerpieces. And this little circle we're using just to attach the ribbon at the end, so we don't need this to actually make the flowers, but it's just included. There's going to be 9 of these white rectangular boxes, and then you're going to have your flower or your leaves, and you're going to have 2 different sizes. You're going to have your one that looks almost like a quad trefoil type thing, and yeah, and then these are the other leaves, and then there's a mulberry logo on there on one of the leaves. So now we're going to get started. I'm going to show you, if you wanted to make this with a lot more flowers, you would just obviously use multiple kits or something like that. I like the design of having something asymmetrical, and that's why I did it this way. If you wanted to fill this whole wreath, you could. If you wanted to only put flowers down here and you have a little wooden M for your name, your last name, you could put a little M. You could do a lot of different things. I've also seen people mix fake greenery with the felt flowers. So they might go to Joann's or Hobby Lobby or Michael's and get like the fake greenery and glue that in behind it. It looks more like a real flower, but it at the same time is a fake flower. So just take that as what you want. Okie dokie. Yes, thank you, Jennifer, for coordinating all of this for us. So I'm going to put this right up here for right now. And then I did rainbow colors because I love all the colors of the rainbow. This is like a little posy design, and it's the simplest to do, I promise. You essentially just take it and wrap it together and it pops up, makes a flower. So when I very first started making flowers, a lot of them were like flat shapes, and it was nice to be able to, once I started doing more and more and more, I realized, oh, you want them to be 3D, so they actually kind of pop out and have more dimension than just like a flat flower would be, right? So I hold mine like this, so it kind of looks like a G in my hand, or you can put it on your surface if you're not comfortable with gluing this close to your hand. And then you just put a little dab of glue right here. Okay. And then we're just going to fold it up. That's what we have. It's like a little teacup shape. Okay. So then what you do to that, because you need a middle, is you take this, and it already has the slits cut in it. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the glue on one side. You can put this on your surface and glue it. I just am doing it up here so you can see. Then you're going to fold it in half. Okay. And you'll see that it already has the little cuts in it. And then this middle piece you're going to take, starting at the end that doesn't have the circle. And it's okay if part of your circle is cut off. The circle's not super needed, but you're going to start on this end, and you're just going to roll it up like you're rolling a sleeping bag to put it back in the case, or you're rolling up a fruit roll-up. And then at the very end of this, I'm going to put a little bead of glue, and it's going to help secure it down here at the bottom. You only put the glue at the bottom because if I put the glue up at the top, it's going to glue all of these little stamens together, I guess you could call them in flower terms. And then with this little circle on the end, you can put a little dot of glue on the circle and then put it down. And then you can fluff it out and you'll see that it kind of blossoms and you have this cute little fluffy things. And these are super cute fillers too. You don't have to put these, you can put these in a flower, you can put these around a felt ball, you can put them just by themselves on the wreath. Like if you wanted to maybe do purple, you know, you can like coordinate it or just have it extra. They kind of look like little fireworks, I think. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to glue around the edges. Put some glue around the edge of the bottom because there's a hole in these. And you're essentially just going to kind of glue it into place. Ta-da! So this is what it'll look like. So to make this, I should tell you the what you would need if you wanted to get if you weren't able to get one from the library. We used, this is a 10-inch grapevine wreath form. These retail for about like, I think like $2.50, $3 a wreath. And then with the actual flower kit, there's 9 felt flowers. And just to give you guys an idea, this one is all about using the Cricut and cutting it out. But if you wanted to cut out regular fabric flowers, or you wanted to just use flowers that you got in the flower section at the store, you could do that as well to make a wreath and just, you know, create the shape. So sorry, my wire's going crazy. Here we go. Any questions so far? So now we're just going to go through and kind of go through all of the different flowers, and then we will show you how to put them on the board. I wonder if it'll let me zoom in on my camera at all. I don't see it. Oops. And once you're done with your wreath, yes, I will sure show how to fill up that white part again. It's hard to show white because it doesn't really show the best. You're going to take this little guy here. I'm going to show the whole process, not just the attaching. We're going to put a bead of glue all along the edge. If you miss a spot, just kind of go back. Okay. Then we're just going to roll it up. I start by just taking this little end and flipping it over once, folding it, and then once I fold that one, it rolls up very simply. And it's okay to keep it tight for this one, because then you just put a little line of glue or a dot of glue at the end to keep it secure, and then another little dot of glue on the end here, kind of like you're putting the top of the can back on. And then you have this little guy, and it'll probably be tight at first, and you want to glue it in tight, and then you can fluff it out. So let me do this purple one. I'm going to do this right here. Okay. You can either glue in the inside or glue on the outside. So for this particular flower, because there's no middle to get the shape that you need, usually like on another kind of flower, I would just put the glue on the bottom of this. But for this one, you're going to either glue on the outside rim of the white, or you can just glue a little bit here. Might be easier if you just glue a little circle here at the bottom. And then you just pop that in. And then you can kind of fan it out. Ta-da! And there's your little purple one. Perfect. So I'm just going to continue to make these, and then we will work on, I put mine on the wreath in order of like the rainbow, but you can put them in any order you want. You could even, if you don't like having them all clustered, if you wanted to make 2 clusters or 3 clusters, you could do that as well. From a design standpoint, you could maybe space them all out and make it kind of look like a polka dot wreath. Things look better in 3s, so I would probably do like groups of 3 rather than 2 groups of, or like 2 groups of, 2 groups on the wreath. Things to think about. And also, I create my designs so that they can be easily copied. So a lot of people just don't want to have to think of where to put it on their wreath, and you can do the exact design that I have. It's totally, easy to do. So, and then also, just to show you real quick, if you have a scrap piece of, like I have this scrap yellow, it's not cut or anything. And like, see, here's where there's a fold in it. So I would iron that out. But you could still, it's obviously still good. Once you ironed it, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's there. Also, when I iron felt, I don't use the steam setting, just because the water, you don't need the steam setting. It can make it too hot. So let's say I wanted to make, you can make these with just regular old felt and no machines. So what you would do to make something like this, make one of these, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can kind of see. I'll just cut this in half. Look, I got new sparkly handled ones. Aren't those cute? I went to Hobby Lobby and I needed some, and I just got really excited. I don't need any more scissors, to be fair. I think everybody probably can agree, but. And then what you're going to do on this one is you will, same process, you'll put glue down this whole side. Fold it in half. And now instead of them already coming pre-cut, you would just take your little scissors and I'll bring it up here. You would just cut little slits. You don't want to go all the way through. You just want to kind of go like this. And depending on what you want it to look like, you can do fatter ones or thinner ones, right? So you would just do this all the way down. This is just if you wanted to create your own, and also a fun project to do if you don't have a machine, right? So then I just cut this by myself. It's all like that. And then you're going to do the exact same thing where you just roll it up on one side. Put a little dot of glue here at the end. And you can tell, you can see it better than the white, how it's kind of rolled underneath. And then the top here is all fluffy. And so you could put that, inside one of these, or you can use these just by themselves. If you take this, if you started with a longer piece of felt, it makes like a pretty big round one. And those are fun to use as fillers as well. And those are cute with like a little leaf on them. Let me cut my one leaf. You could put a little leaf on it. Ta-da, and then put that on a little headband. So cute. I've got little boys, and even though I've tried to use their hair to take pictures for the website, it just doesn't. They're 2 years old. They don't cooperate very well. And I don't have little girls that appreciate hair things. So I don't get to make very many hair bows, but you could make a cute little hair bow that way. Let me make all of these really quickly. I think this is the other size that some people might have. This is the 14-inch wreath. I would say if you're going to do one on your the front of the house, I wouldn't do any smaller than 18 inches, just so you can see it from the, road. This will be recorded and I will email it to you guys if you need to see. I don't know if it shows everybody or if it just shows my instruction. It's very relaxing once I put my boys to bed to like make felt flowers or felt signs or things like that. It's very therapeutic for me. What I like to do is I like to just make all the middles and then I'll fold all of these and then I'll just assemble. That way I'm not, kind of like I'm making an assembly line. It makes it a little bit faster. That makes sense. The glue gun I am using is by Surebonder. The detail glue gun, this one is the wireless detail glue gun. And the tip of it, if you can see, is just a little bit finer so you don't have super big globs of glue. I have black. This one is their wireless. It's their collaboration with Lynn Lilly. So this one is hot pink and teal, but the regular one like this is black. I have the black one I used, and honestly, I've bought 3 of them. One of the very first one I ever bought works perfectly. I love it so much. This one works perfectly. Love it so much. The other 2, I don't know. There's something going on in the here because when I try and press, it doesn't engage all the way, and I feel like I'm trying to pump all the time. But I like the tip on these, and you can't find the precision tip on a lot of glue guns. The glue guns that I use in the classes that I teach here locally around different workshops and stuff, those ones are just the simple glue guns that you would get for like $5 at Walmart or Michael's, and they work perfectly. They don't put too much glue out, and they're not too hot. If you have like one of those bigger glue guns that's industrial strength, that one you might need to wear some hot gloves so that you're not hurting yourself with those. You're going to get a lot more glue coming out. You just need a small glue gun for this task because you don't want there to be so much glue that it's oozing out, because then it's going to ruin the look of your flower. It's going to look less realistic, even though your flower obviously is not realistic, but the more gloopiness you have. I don't think gloopiness is a word, but okay, so Julie asked me how I came up with my business name. So my business name is Anna Mulberry. It's gonna show backwards just because that's the cool thing to do. Oh no, yeah, it's mirrored. I forgot that about this. And Anna Mulberry, when I was trying to decide of different names, so I had this idea like 4 or 5 years ago that I wanted to make kits for people because I always love to craft, but I don't love getting together all of the things to make the craft. And sometimes getting it all together is the hardest part, or the part that takes the longest, right? So I was thinking of different names for what I wanted it to be. And I was like, the sparkly paintbrush, the magic paintbrush. And my husband's like, no, I wouldn't do that. And so I was just thinking about different names. And I remembered that in 8th grade, which was a long time ago, and I don't know how I remembered this randomly, we had to create a pen name for our English projects. So like every English paper we wrote, we had to use our pen name, kind of like how authors like Roald Dahl and, you know, the different authors, they have a pen name to write under, so they don't actually publish under their first name or their real name. We had to create our own pen name, and I created mine, and mine was Anna Mulberry. So Mulberry is the street that I didn't grow up on this street, but it was the street that I came home from the hospital and lived at for a few years. So it was my first home. And then Anna is Anne spelled backwards. So my middle name is Anne, A-N-N-E. And so that's how I came up with my pen name. And then I was thinking of business names. I'm like, Anna Mulberry, that sounds like Kate Spade, or like it sounds like a brand. So I was really excited about that. And that's how I came up with the name. And it's been perfect because it doesn't pigeonhole me into one particular type of kit. You know, it's not like Felt Kits by Kate or something like that. I can do all different kinds of kits and stuff like that. But anyways, that's how I came up with my name. And a lot of people think my name's Anna. Like I get emails from people that say, "Hi, Anna," and I still answer because I think that's a compliment. How are we doing with our little flowers here? Everybody doing good? Like I said, these we did to go on the wreath, but you can get little clips for super cheap on Etsy or Amazon. Actually, I forgot. I posted some on my website, so you can get little packs for like, I think $2 for 2 little like alligator clips, and you could just put a clip on the back, and this could be a clip that you would put in your daughter's hair, or you could put on her hair, not even your daughter, your own hair. You could clip it to your purse, you could clip it to like a headband that already exists. So there's a lot of different uses for that. I do have a hair bow class that we're gonna do, Zoom style. I just haven't picked the actual date to do that yet, but be on the lookout. We'll be doing that. I only have one more center to do. I will tell you what's really fun is to listen to music or watch Netflix or listen to your audiobook and craft. It makes the time go by so fast. I have a few custom orders I have to do after this for some groups that are doing classes. So I'm getting the kits ready, and I'm just gonna put my little audiobook on, my little music, and I just kind of space into my, or I kind of tune out, there we go, into my own little space. Our neighborhood had a, there we go. Our neighborhood had a food truck come into town or into our neighborhood for the day, for the evening, I guess. But it was right when the rainstorm came. So I feel really bad because they probably didn't get very much service. I hope they come back. It was like a taco truck or something. I heard sometimes a few other neighborhoods are doing that. So now I have all of my centers done. And I'm just gonna do all of these. I do have a kit available. The colors are a little bit different. Same tone, some of them are the same. And you actually will take 2 of these and we assemble 2 of them. And one just goes inside the other one, and it kind of gives it a 3D look. It's kind of just a little factoid. So you can kind of layer it and make that look, just in case you were curious if you could do anything else with them. Now this is kind of, it's like 2 tones. That's what the other kit's like. This is one of the flowers. It's like that. Isn't that cute? A little bit border on the outside. So I got this glue gun. The other one that I got was off of Amazon, their main one. This one is called, it's by Surebonder, just like it sounds, Surebonder. This one is their detail wireless. The reason why it's wireless is because it sits on a wired stand, and it has like a charging device down here. And I can, every time I sit it down, it just recharges it. And it's got like a little base here for the glue to drip on. This one I've actually really enjoyed having. I will say it was a little bit of vanity, the reason I got it, because I thought it would be cute in some YouTube videos, like to have a cute little glue gun, but it's been one of my favorites. They make it in black as well. This one's the Lynn Lilly collaboration. It's only available that I know of on their website, surebonder.com. But you can get their products on Amazon. I think I've seen them at Hobby Lobby. My other glue guns from them are just black. They're detail, so they have the longer tip that's really small. And it still works just as fine. I don't have to like press harder to get the glue to come out or anything like that. It just, it's very, very easy. So that was a great question. I did a Facebook Live last week, and somebody asked me how many glue guns I had. And I thought, that's a very good question, but it's kind of unfair because I teach craft classes, so I bring glue guns with me places. So I have like 20 in my kits that I bring, And then because I also just like glue guns, I guess, have some spares. And let's see, one more. I never did finally count though, did I, Kim? I never counted how many I actually have. But I do have my original, when I was in college, I had to make a lot of models, 3D models for the designs that I created. And we had to use a lot of glue guns and stuff. So I bought a glue gun, just not thinking, and it's the exact same style, like it's this wireless kind, which back in 2000 was like, there weren't very many of those. So it was kind of cool. I still have that glue gun to this day. It's been wonderful. I don't know what brand it is. I just got it at like Walmart, but it was wonderful to have. Okay, let me put these little guys in here, the centers. And feel free to be creative and do different colors. So maybe like you want a 4th of July inspired wreath. You could do white, red, white, and blue, obviously, but you could also do silver. And you can mix and match what parts are red, white, and blue. So maybe the flowers are all red and navy, but the centers are all white. Or maybe the flowers are all white. Maybe all of the flowers are white, but the centers are red and blue. And maybe there are multiple shades of blue. You know, you can kind of mix and match the different things. I like to put them in like a colorful order. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, so I included this for everybody. We're not really doing home parties because of, you know, Corona right now, but this is a great way for families. We did this with my cousins. I have a lot of cousins that live out west, and I made little Christmas kits at Christmas time, and we did a virtual class where we all, everybody logged in. There were like some cousins from Arizona, California, North Carolina, you know, just a little bit everywhere, and we were all able to get on Zoom. I mailed everybody the kit and we just showed them how to do it. So this is like a really fun way, even right now when you can't, you know, even get together with your friends, it's fun to do. So there's all different kits on my website to make, and we do instructions and stuff like that. So you'll have to check that out. So I will just show you how to assemble this real quick, and then we'll just leave the rest of the time for questions. And then I will show you how I attach the ribbon. Everybody's ribbon is a little different. I think most of them are polka dot yellow, but there's a few that are like a salmon color, coral color, and teal maybe. Somebody has teal. Perfect timing. It's starting to rain. You never know when the electricity is going to go out. My electricity never goes out, but all of a sudden it's been like super weird. Okay, so you're going to take, and what you can do is you can take the ones that are like this for the leaves, and you can plop your flower right in the middle, and it kind of looks like you have a flower on either side. Or you can cut this in half, and you can glue it on the side and pop it like that, which is what I like to do. So this one, I will put a little bit of glue down here at the bottom. Put it on the side. And then you'll see, like from this angle, it's just going to fit on here like this, but on the back, you can see how far up I put it. Right, like that. You can also take this, cut it into, cut it again. So you have two leaves like this, right? And then maybe I want to take half of this one and like a quarter of this one actually. Maybe I want to do a two-tone leaf. I'm going to take and put a little dot of glue at the bottom. And you can kind of have it look like that. Okay, and then we'll pick our flower, and then we'll put it like that, right? And it just will sit just right here on the edge. That's a really fun way of doing it as well. If these are the leaves that I have for all of my kits are pretty much the same. These are the ones that I've found that I love, but they're super simple to make because they're just, if you take a rectangle and then you just kind of cut like an arc this way and cut like an arc this way, then you have these leaves, right? There aren't leaves for every single flower because some of the flowers are going to be scrunched together and there's going to be a few bigger leaves that you will put in the middle like that. Okay. So just do the few that you like. That's a fun. Sometimes I like to play around with like, do I like the darker one on the colors? I like this one. It looks like sherbet, lime and orange sherbet. So you can use tacky glue. In fact, in my last Facebook Live, somebody said, I don't have a glue gun. What do I use? And I had some tacky glue. What I would use is clothespins to close them shut. So what you would do is something like take your fabric when you're making, you know, whatever you're doing. Let's say you're putting glue on this side and you're folding it over. Then I would take a clothespin and I would just apply pressure to that area, and it won't take very long to dry. So you would just put a few clothespins, or if you're a sewer and you have those clips, you can do that as well. You could also put in, because the glue, the reason I like hot glue is because it is going to grab the fibers on either side and hold tight, and it dries very fast. The tacky glue, probably after 5 minutes, it's not all the way dry, but it is dry enough to hold in place. So you can use that as well. Let's see, so we've got a few more that I can put on here. I'm just really digging this light color. So for the spring and summer kits, the flowers are a little more, the flowers are more, not the flowers, excuse me, the leaves are lighter colors and springier colors, but for like the fall and winter, or like the kits that have, you know, more muted tones, jewel tones, the leaves are a little darker green, and those are fun as well. Those are some of my favorites. How's everybody doing? Still chugging along? Okay. This will be pretty on here. I'm gonna do another one like this. So that I can put it on, maybe this one would be cute. So all we have to do from here is glue them onto our wreath and then put the bow on. So if you need to leave, feel free. I know a few people have dropped out, and that's totally okay. I will say that what I like, I'll show you how I do this really quick. On your leaf, you're going to have one leaf that has like a little logo on it that just shows that, you know, it's an enamel, very original. That's not original, but you know what I mean. To make it pop, so right now it's flat. To make it a little more 3D, you put a little dab of glue in the corner, and I do mean a little dab, and then you'll just pinch it like this, and it kind of makes it pop up. Isn't that cute? So then you can put this in your wreath, and it just kind of makes it look like you have greenery popping out underneath of the of your flowers. And my glue stick is gone. Those things roll around. One moment. You might be a crafter if in your pencil holder you also have a stick of glue gun. I also buy these in bulk on Amazon because it's a lot cheaper, and you get like a huge box of them, and they're long, so you don't have to keep putting in more and more hot glue sticks. It's another tip for the day. Let me make sure that I went over everything that I wrote down. I think so. I'm going to glue these leaves on really quickly. So I'm going to do solid. I'm going to do a full one on here. So I think it'd be pretty to have that. There might actually be enough for all of them to have leaves on them. So don't, if you want them to all have leaves, you can. The only thing I think I need to do is like get music to play in the background or something. That way we can, you know, jam to some tunes or something like that. That would be fun. It's raining again and lightning, and I do not like lightning. I don't know about you guys. Okay. There we go. My puppy just came down. He wanted to spend time with me. Okay, so what I would do is I would kind of position where I want them all to be, and then we put the leaves in at the last minute. So you just would hot glue, put a big old dollop of glue, and hold it in place for like 5 seconds or something like that to keep it in place. And then you just kind of go in order of what you like. Maybe you only want to do like 3 in one corner like this. Maybe you want to do it like, you know, different colors. You can do like little clusters of 3 if you wanted to. And then you just add an extra leaf in between them. All the different things. Let's see your wreath, Kimberly. Oh, beautiful. I love it. Oh, that's cute. And then you can just take your leaves and kind of put them in between flowers as they come out, if you want to use them. If you don't use them. And I like this size wreath is really cute to put on like the door, an interior door, like the door to your bathroom or something like that. And let me show you real quick with the ribbon. So some of you got this color. And to create the loop, you just take the top and wrap it around. So you have the same color like this. And you'll cut it off. On the back of your wreath, you will put a big old dollop of glue right here and hang it. And then I would put more glue on top of it and put my little felt circle. It just kind of helps keep it in place. Makes it nice and neat and even. So that's how you would do your little loop like that, okay? And then for your the bow portion, I will show you how I like to make. I don't have a big enough piece, but there's the coral. Some people have coral in their kit. I just like to make 2 bunny ears like this. So it's almost like I just took and folded it up and folded it up again. So I've got 2 little bunny ears, okay? And I do right over left. And then you play around with it. So you'll kind of play around with the bottoms to see, you know, how much you want and stuff like that. If you have a bigger wreath, I would maybe make a bigger bow than a smaller wreath. Okay, so there's our little bow. And then with the ends here, I just fold them in half and make a little crease like that on them. So I just folded that in half to make that. I would love to do this again. I actually have some classes that we're going to be doing online. I've got different signs, like home decor signs, and like some brooch classes. Well, they're not, I hate saying brooches because people are going to think you can only make brooches with them, but they're like, you can make a hairpin, you could make a brooch, it could be a clip that goes on your like bag or something like that. We're going to be doing that. So make sure that you follow Enna Mulberry on Facebook and Instagram. That's where I post all of my stuff, and you'll be able to see when the classes pop up. This is my only class right now with the library, but they might offer other classes. Some of the kits that are smaller range in price like $15, and some of the big kits that have like a lot of flowers in them are like $30 or $40. But those kits you would probably be able to do multiple projects with, so you'll just have to get on ennamulberry.shop is where my kits are located, or you can go to ennamulberry.com and click shop, and then you can go there and look at all the different things. But make sure, Colleen, to follow me on Facebook, and you'll be able to find that. And then you would just take your little bow and glue it right on your wreath. Ta-da! And if you don't like the bow, don't put the bow on. I think that's self-explanatory, but some people need to hear, they need permission that it's okay not to include everything on the kit. Maybe you don't even like this color ribbon. Maybe you don't like this size. Maybe you want something thicker. Maybe you're a professional seamstress and you make bows all the time beautifully, and you want to put one of your own bows on. You can do that too. I did mine like this, but that doesn't mean that that's how you have to do it. So take your own creative liberty and use them. Any other questions that anybody has? I don't think so. Well, we have 20 more minutes, so I can, oh, I was like, what is that? I'm almost stepping on my dog. He decided to come and lay by my feet because I'm a cool kid, and that's what you do. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thanks, everybody. Everybody's loved this. This is very encouraging. I know that I've done a few classes in the past with signs, and those are a little more, I don't want to say labor intensive, they just are longer because you have the wood and then the paint. That's the other thing is my home decor signs actually come with, you get to pick what color paint, and I've got like a whole roster of different colors of paint, and you can pick the stencil, things like that. So those are totally customizable. It started with, I would get recommendations from friends and other class members because I would only do like the wood and the felt. And I'd be like, oh, people have paint, people have foam brushes, but I've discovered that not everybody does. And also, even if you do, it's like, if you're like my mom, it's buried in one of your totes in the basement. And you're like, I have no idea where that's at. So a lot of the kits will come with, you know, little jars of paint that you've selected what colors. I did a Facebook Live where we did attribute boards, and you got to choose what attribute you wanted to put on it. So like love, faith, laughter, gratitude, and you choose what color paint. And then there were also, like 50 different color combinations of felt flowers that you could choose from. That way you can be like, oh, I love blues, or I love grays or blacks or pinks, or all the different colors. You can kind of customize it to what you want. And everything that you would need is in the kit besides a glue gun. Just because I don't really have room to, you know, store all those glue guns for everybody. And plus, if you got a kit, you wouldn't want a glue gun every time, because then if you got multiple kits, you would be building up with, you know, you'd be like me with a stash of glue guns. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. If anybody doesn't have any questions, I'll let you finish up on your own. Again, don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. and go to animalberry.shop to look for other kits. And I'm constantly putting more out there as I come up with different designs. I think I'm going to be doing a front door decor sign, summer sign. So being on the lookout for that. That one's going to be really fun. I think I'm going to have it be for local only, like meaning Columbus or the surrounding areas, because I'll drop off the wood. Because the kit, it would be very expensive to ship that wood. Like it wouldn't make it worth it. I don't want to pay that much for a kit. You know what I mean? So this one is a cute kite. So it's really fun. So I thought that could be a really fun one that we would do with, that could be on the front doors. So that's that one. Any other questions? Oh, yes, here's the finished one. Dun, 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 dun. If you go on my Facebook page, and you can see the event, the picture is listed there as well. If you go on the Pickerington website under the events for today, the picture of this is listed there as well. Everybody should show me their wreaths. They're beautiful. Good job. I love it. I love this flower because it's a great beginner flower, but it doesn't look like a beginner flower. Like it's just cute and it just pops, right? Awesome. Let's see, anything else? Any other questions before we go? 4. I'm trying to read lips. I'm not very good at it. I could unmute you, but. You made 4 wreaths. Oh, you have 4. Oh, you used 4 glue sticks? Oh my gosh. Kim is the one that uses the most glue sticks in any of my classes. She's the first one up there next to me. And she's the one that owns Megan the Maker here. And she goes through glue sticks like, you know, I don't even know what. I used one of the small ones, Kim. But hey, you know what? We all do our own thing. That's so funny. Thank you guys. This was really fun. And thanks for your patience with technology, trying to figure out how to make this all groove and work. This was a lot of fun. Have fun crafting with your kids. That melts my heart. I love that so much. And if you don't have any other questions, I will see you guys on social media and on the next installment of our Zoom classes. Bye, everybody. Thank you.